Hi, my name is Professor Eva. Welcome to this journey through neuromarketing and consumer neuroscience. Today, we will be delving into ethical considerations in neuromarketing. In this session, we will explore topics like consumer privacy, emotional manipulation in advertising, the importance of informed consent, and how ethical frameworks can guide neuromarketing practices. We'll dive deep into the ethical challenges of using neuroscience in marketing and how marketers can ensure they are prioritizing consumer well-being while meeting business goals. Let's dive in and explore the concepts that shape our understanding of ethical neuromarketing. Monoing. Ethical considerations in neuromarketing. This session sets the stage for exploring the ethical concerns that arise when using neuromarketing techniques. Neuromarketing involves applying neuroscience to understand consumer behavior, but it also raises significant ethical questions. The main ethical issues we'll cover include privacy, consent, emotional manipulation, and transparency in data collection. We'll also discuss how to balance the business objectives of marketers with the well-being of consumers, ensuring that the pursuit of profit doesn't come at the expense of consumer rights. It's important to approach neuromarketing responsibly and with clear ethical guidelines. Privacy concerns in neuromarketing research. In neuromarketing, sensitive data like brain activity and eye tracking are used to understand consumer responses. However, the collection of such data poses privacy risks. Without proper consent, these practices can lead to privacy violations and erode consumer trust. To prevent this, marketers must ensure that all data is anonymized and that consumers are fully aware of what data is being collected and how it will be used. Transparency is key, and protecting consumer privacy must be a top priority. Ultimately, safeguarding privacy is not just a legal requirement, but also an ethical obligation. The ethics of manipulating consumer behavior through neuroscience. One of the core ethical concerns in neuromarketing is the potential to manipulate consumer behavior. Neuroscience techniques can influence subconscious decision-making, potentially leading consumers to make choices that they might not have made otherwise. This raises serious ethical issues about consumer autonomy and the possibility of exploitation. Marketers need to set ethical boundaries to ensure they are not undermining the decision-making process of consumers. It's crucial that neuromarketing techniques are used to inform and enhance consumer choices, not to manipulate them for profit. Informed consent in neuromarketing studies. Informed consent is a cornerstone of ethical research, and it is just as important in neuromarketing. Consumers must fully understand what data is being collected, how it will be used, and the potential risks of participating in a study. Consent should always be voluntary, and consumers must be able to opt out at any time without fear of penalty. The consent forms provided to participants should be clear, straightforward, and free of jargon to ensure full understanding. Transparency and respect for consumer autonomy should always guide neuromarketing practices. Transparency in data collection and analysis. Transparency is crucial in neuromarketing. Marketers need to be upfront about how they collect data, what techniques they use, and how they analyze consumer behavior. This transparency helps build consumer trust, ensuring that the audience understands how their data is being used and processed. It also helps consumers make more informed decisions about whether to engage with a particular marketing campaign. Clear communication of data collection methods fosters trust and ensures that ethical standards are being met, both legally and morally. Balancing marketing goals and consumer well-being. A key challenge in neuromarketing is balancing the business goals of marketing with the well-being of consumers. While marketers may seek to increase sales and profits, they must also ensure that their practices do not harm consumers or take advantage of their vulnerabilities. Ethical marketing strategies focus on long-term relationships with consumers, rather than short-term profits. By prioritizing consumer welfare, marketers can build trust and loyalty, which will ultimately lead to sustainable success. Striking this balance is not always easy, but it is necessary for ethical business practices. Ethical implications of emotional manipulation in advertising. Emotional manipulation is a powerful tool in advertising, but it must be used responsibly. Marketers often target consumer emotions to drive purchasing decisions, but this can be ethically questionable if it involves exploiting vulnerable emotional states. For example, Using fear or guilt to manipulate consumers into making a purchase can have long-term psychological effects. Marketers should avoid such manipulative tactics and instead focus on authentic emotional connections that promote positive feelings. The goal should be to evoke genuine emotions that enhance the consumer experience, not to exploit them. Regulatory standards for neuromarketing research. Regulatory bodies set standards to ensure that neuromarketing research adheres to ethical and legal guidelines. These standards help protect consumers from unethical practices and ensure that their privacy is safeguarded. Compliance with laws such as the GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, is essential for ensuring that data collection and analysis are transparent and respectful of consumer rights. Marketers must also follow guidelines set by ethical committees and independent bodies that review research to ensure compliance with these standards. Regulatory oversight is critical for maintaining trust in neuromarketing practices. Social responsibility and ethical marketing practices. Ethical marketing goes beyond just complying with laws. It also involves social responsibility. Marketers have an obligation to act in a way that benefits society and promotes positive behavior. This includes ensuring fairness, honesty, and transparency in all marketing practices. Marketers should adopt strategies that focus on consumer welfare while avoiding any practices that could cause harm. Social responsibility also means considering the broader impact of marketing efforts, ensuring that campaigns promote not just business goals, but also societal well-being. Neuromarketing's impact on consumer trust. Consumer trust is fundamental to the success of any marketing strategy, especially in neuromarketing. When neuromarketing practices are used ethically, they can help build trust by creating personalized, relevant, and positive consumer experiences. However, if these practices are not transparent or respectful of privacy, they can erode trust and damage brand reputation. To maintain consumer trust, marketers must be honest and transparent about their methods, and they must prioritize consumer well-being in their strategies. Trust is built on respect, transparency, and ethical conduct, which are crucial for long-term success. The role of consumer autonomy in neuromarketing. Consumers must have the freedom to make informed decisions, even when exposed to persuasive neuromarketing techniques. The primary goal of neuromarketing should be to support consumer decision-making, not to override it. Ethical neuromarketing respects consumer autonomy by ensuring that marketing practices are transparent and that consumers are fully aware of the strategies being used to influence them. Marketers must avoid covert tactics that manipulate consumer choices and instead focus on empowering consumers to make decisions that align with their true preferences and needs. Neuromarketing and vulnerable consumer populations. Neuromarketing must be handled with special care when targeting vulnerable populations, such as children, the elderly, and other groups with limited cognitive abilities. These groups are more susceptible to manipulative marketing tactics and may not fully understand or resist persuasive marketing strategies. Marketers should ensure that their campaigns do not exploit these vulnerabilities and that they provide clear, understandable information. Ethical neuromarketing involves protecting vulnerable consumers from harmful manipulation and ensuring that they are treated fairly and with respect. The line between persuasion and coercion in neuromarketing. Neuromarketing must walk a fine line between persuasion and coercion. Persuasion, when done ethically, is about providing consumers with relevant information to help them make decisions. Coercion, on the other hand, involves manipulating consumers into making decisions that are against their best interests. Marketers must ensure that their strategies empower consumers to make choices freely, without undue influence. Maintaining clear ethical boundaries between persuasion and manipulation is essential for maintaining consumer autonomy and trust. Privacy laws and neuromarketing. Privacy laws, such as the GDPR, are critical to protecting consumer rights in neuromarketing. These laws regulate how consumer data is collected, stored, and used, ensuring that personal information is protected from misuse. Marketers must comply with these regulations to ensure transparency and build consumer trust. Consumers have the right to know how their data will be used and to control its collection. By following privacy laws and minimizing data collection, marketers can reduce the risk of data breaches and build stronger relationships with consumers. Neuromarketing's potential for good, ethical applications. While neuromarketing is often seen through a critical lens, it has the potential to create positive outcomes for consumers when used ethically. By understanding consumer preferences and emotions, marketers can create more personalized and relevant products that enhance consumer experiences. Ethical neuromarketing can also promote social good by encouraging positive behaviors, such as healthier lifestyle choices or sustainable consumption. The key is to apply neuromarketing techniques responsibly, ensuring that the benefits outweigh any potential risks. The influence of neuromarketing on consumer decision-making. Neuromarketing influences consumer decisions at both the subconscious and conscious levels. By tapping into emotional and cognitive triggers, marketers can shape consumer behavior in powerful ways. However, this also raises ethical concerns about the potential for manipulation. To use neuromarketing responsibly, marketers must ensure that their strategies enhance the consumer experience rather than exploit vulnerabilities. Ethical use of neuromarketing involves understanding the emotional drivers behind decision-making and using this knowledge to create positive, informed consumer choices. The role of ethics committees in neuromarketing research. Ethics committees play a vital role in ensuring that neuromarketing research is conducted ethically and transparently. These independent bodies review research proposals to ensure that they comply with ethical standards, protecting consumers from exploitation and harm. Ethics committees ensure that research is conducted with respect for consumer rights and privacy, and they help maintain the integrity of the neuromarketing field. Their oversight is essential to prevent unethical practices and ensure that neuromarketing continues to evolve responsibly. Consumer awareness and neuromarketing transparency. Educating consumers about neuromarketing is essential for fostering trust and transparency. Consumers should be informed about the techniques used to influence their decisions so they can make empowered, informed choices. Marketers have a responsibility to be transparent about their methods and to ensure that consumers understand how their data is being used. By promoting consumer awareness and ensuring transparency, marketers can build trust and avoid any practices that could be perceived as deceptive or manipulative. Cultural sensitivity in neuromarketing. Cultural sensitivity is an essential aspect of ethical neuromarketing. Marketers must be aware of cultural differences and avoid exploiting stereotypes or misrepresenting cultural groups. By respecting cultural norms and values, marketers can ensure that their campaigns are more inclusive and effective. Understanding the cultural context of consumer behavior is key to creating marketing strategies that resonate with diverse audiences. Ethical neuromarketing respects cultural differences and builds stronger connections with consumers by recognizing their unique values. Conclusion: navigating ethical challenges in neuromarketing. In conclusion, navigating the ethical challenges of neuromarketing requires a commitment to consumer respect, privacy, and transparency. Marketers must remain vigilant about the ethical implications of their work and prioritize consumer autonomy in their strategies. Ongoing dialogue and regulatory oversight will help ensure that neuromarketing continues to evolve in a way that benefits both businesses and consumers. Ethical neuromarketing is not just about avoiding harm, but about creating positive, lasting relationships with consumers that are built on trust and respect.